The Galactic Union was an ancient organization. For thousands of years, it had guided trade, peace, and order among hundreds of intelligent species. The Union had seen many young civilizations rise and join, and many others fall into silence. To them, Earth was only another new world. Yet there was something unusual about humans. They were not the strongest, not the fastest, not even the most intelligent compared to other species. But humans had a trait that no one could measure. They adapted. They endured. They survived where others would fail. In the Great Hall of Concord, thousands of alien delegates gathered. The chamber was built inside a hollowed asteroid, floating in the safe region of neutral space. Giant screens showed star maps, trade routes, and the newest species who had applied for membership. Among them, glowing blue letters marked Earth, Human Civilization. The hall buzzed with voices of many tongues. Some spoke with musical tones, others clicked with hard sounds, and some communicated with light patterns. All were debating the same subject: humanity. The delegate from the Sarathan Empire, a tall insect-like being, raised its limbs and clicked for silence. Humans are still young. They discovered faster than light travel only a century ago, yet already they spread to 12 star systems. Their growth is dangerous. We must control them now before they become a threat. Many agreed, nodding or flashing signals. Others disagreed. The representative of the gentle Miralan, a species of winged beings, lifted her voice like a song. Control? They have done nothing wrong. Humans have joined trade, respected borders, and shared knowledge. Why call them dangerous? The Sarathan delegate hissed. They fight too fiercely. Every record shows the same. Wars among themselves lasted for centuries. Their weapons advanced faster than their healing arts. Even now they train their young in combat before they can speak full sentences. Laughter rolled across the chamber from some seats. A reptilian commander of the Drogan Confederacy pounded his chest. They fight, yes. But against whom? Against each other. They bleed themselves. They are loud, emotional, and wild. The galaxy will tame them soon enough. The hall's attention shifted when the screens lit up with a new image. A human ambassador was standing in his chamber far away on Earth, but linked by secure holographic channel. He was a calm man, gray-haired, wearing a simple dark suit. His eyes, however, were sharp and steady. Representatives of the Union, he began in plain galactic standard. His voice was not loud, but every word carried weight. We have heard your debates. You speak of us as if we are not listening. You call us dangerous or weak or foolish. I will tell you only this. Humanity has not shown its full hand. The hall grew still. Even the buzzing translators went silent for a moment. The ambassador continued. For centuries we have lived with war. We know its cost. We know its pain. That is why we do not seek it. That is why we came here to join the Union in peace. But do not mistake our choice for weakness. Earth has always held back. We hold back for peace. We hold back for coexistence. But if the day comes when someone forces our hand... He leaned closer. His eyes were cold and his tone became iron. You will see what humanity truly is, and it will not be gentle. Gasps echoed across the chamber. Some laughed nervously. Some muttered in anger. And some sat in thoughtful silence. The Sarathan delegate clacked furiously. Threats. This human dares to threaten the Union in its own hall? They must be punished at once. But the Miralan representative raised her wings in calm protest. No, listen, these are not threats. This is a warning, a plea to avoid mistakes. Do not ignore it. The human ambassador bowed his head. We will continue to seek peace. But remember my words. Humanity is patient. Humanity is kind. But humanity is also something else. Something you may not wish to test. That is all I have to say. The transmission ended, leaving only the faint hum of the chamber. In the days that followed, the galaxy was divided. Some species mocked the human warning. They believed Earth exaggerated its strength. To them, humans were noisy children waving sticks. Others, however, remembered their own history. They remembered when their civilizations had been young, when they had been underestimated, and when they had surprised the galaxy. These species watched humans carefully, wondering if the warning was not empty words but a hidden truth. Meanwhile, on Earth itself, quiet preparations were underway. Far from the busy trade routes and open colonies, secret projects continued deep underground and in hidden star systems. Fleets of ships, black and silent, drifted in the darkness, waiting for orders that might never come. The people of Earth lived their daily lives, Unaware of the full scale of these preparations, farmers worked the fields of Mars, miners dug on Europa, and engineers built cities under domes on distant exoplanets. Yet somewhere in every heart, there was a quiet belief. If the galaxy pushed them too far, humanity would stand together. At the United Earth Council, leaders gathered in a private chamber. The same ambassador who had spoken to the Union stood before them. "They do not believe us," he said. His voice was calm, but his eyes were heavy. Some laugh. Some prepare, but many think we are bluffing. The president of the council, a woman with sharp eyes, asked, "Are we ready if they test us?" The ambassador nodded slowly. "Our fleets are hidden. Our technology is waiting. We can answer if the galaxy forces us, but I pray it never comes to that." For their sake and for ours, the council fell silent. They all understood. Humanity had climbed too far to fall now, but the cost of showing their true strength would be terrible. Far across the galaxy in the Sarathan Empire, leaders whispered in secret rooms. The Sarathan were proud, ambitious, and hungry for power. They saw humanity's warning not as fear, but as a challenge. One of their admirals, his eyes burning with greed, clicked his limbs together. "Humans say they hold back. Let us test them. If they are weak, we conquer them. If they are strong, we learn their secrets. Either way, the Sarathan Empire gains." Plans began to move in shadows. Fleets gathered, soldiers trained, and spies were sent to human colonies. The Sarathan had decided they would not let the warning stand unchallenged. The galaxy turned quietly, stars burning as they always had. Most citizens of the Union carried on with daily life, trading goods, exploring worlds, and raising families. Few of them knew that seeds of conflict had been planted. Humanity had spoken clearly. The galaxy had heard the words, but whether it believed them or not, that would soon be tested, and when the test came, there would be no turning back. The galaxy did not forget the human ambassador's words, but many chose to dismiss them. To most of the Galactic Union, humanity's warning was little more than pride dressed in dramatic language. Species that had survived for millennia could not imagine a younger race threatening them. But far away, in the shining towers of the Sarathan Empire, the words were not dismissed. They were studied, weighed, and twisted into fuel for ambition. The Sarathan were hunters at heart. Their culture respected cunning and strength. To them, humanity's warning was a direct challenge. Their leaders whispered that if humans were truly holding back, then proving their weakness would bring glory. And if humans were hiding power, then stealing that power would give the Sarathan eternal dominance. Thus, the Sarathan Admiralty made its choice. Humanity would be tested, the colony under fire. The chosen target was Vega Colony, a small but proud settlement of 30,000 humans orbiting a star near the edge of Union space. Vega Colony was not heavily armed. It had a modest defense grid, a few patrol ships, and civilian shuttles. Its people lived simple lives, farming, mining, and trading. On the morning of the attack, the sky above Vega turned red as the Sarathan fleet emerged from faster-than-light space. 20 warships appeared like shadows tearing out of the void. Their black hulls reflected the sun in sharp glints. The colony's defense commander, Captain Elaine Foster, stared at the radar screen in shock. "They're not Union patrols," she said, her voice tight. "They're Sarathan, and they're powering weapons." The defense grid activated. Energy shields shimmered faintly around the colony's main habitats. The few patrol ships scrambled into the sky. Farmers dropped tools. Children were rushed into shelters, and alarms echoed through every dome and corridor. The first strike came with blazing precision. A Sarathan destroyer fired plasma beams that hammered the outer shield. The sky lit up with blue light as the energy barrier rippled and groaned. Vega shook under the impact. Inside the control center, Captain Foster gave the only order she could. "Fight back. Every ship, every gun. We hold them as long as possible." The humans knew they were outmatched. The Sarathan warships were designed for destruction. But Vega's people did not surrender. Patrol pilots launched missiles weaving through fire with desperate skill. Ground turrets spat streams of energy into the sky. Civilians who had never held weapons before joined defense squads to protect their homes. For every human ship that fell, another pushed forward. For every Sarathan shot that broke the shield, humans rushed to repair and reinforce. The Sarathan commander, watching from his flagship, hissed in disbelief. They resist. Against such power, he had expected surrender, fear, or panic. Instead, the colony fought with a determination that felt unnatural. Even when the shields weakened, even when ships burned, the humans refused to break. The message spreads. The battle lasted for hours. At last, the Sarathan fleet withdrew, not because they could not win, but because their commander realized the cost of complete destruction would be too high. He wanted proof of human weakness, not empty ruins. When the smoke cleared, Vega Colony still stood. Its shields were shattered, half its ships destroyed, and hundreds of lives lost, but it had not fallen. The people had fought until the Sarathan left the field. Word traveled faster than ships. Within days, news of Vega's resistance reached every corner of the Union. Across star systems, alien races whispered the same question. How did they hold against the Sarathan? Reports showed videos of human pilots steering crippled ships into enemy fire to protect their comrades. Footage spread of engineers repairing shield emitters under bombardment, refusing to run even as the ground shook. Civilians armed with nothing but hand weapons had defended shelters against boarding troops. To the galaxy, it was more than bravery. It was stubbornness that bordered on madness. No other young species would have resisted like that. The Miralyn ambassador spoke before the Union Council, her wings trembling with both fear and respect. You see now what they meant. Humans said they hold back, but even unprepared, even cornered, they fight with a fire we do not understand. If we continue to provoke them, that fire may consume us all. But not all listened. The Sarathan declared their attack a test, claiming they had proved human weakness. Vega Colony is damaged, fragile, and broken, their envoy boasted. We could have destroyed it completely. Do not be fooled by stories of courage, yet many were not convinced. The galaxy had seen the recordings. They had seen something new in humanity, a force of will that numbers and weapons could not easily measure. Earth decides on Earth. The United Council gathered in secret session. The chamber was silent as the defense minister showed images of Vega Colony. Burnt ships drifting in orbit, shields cracked, civilians carrying the wounded through smoke. The ambassador who had spoken the warning to the Union now stood again. His voice was calm, but the chamber felt heavy with his words. They tested us, and still they do not believe. If we do nothing, they will strike again. If we answer, the galaxy will know our strength. There is no easy path. The president of the council, her face pale but resolute, asked, "What is the risk if we reveal what we've hidden?" The defense minister replied quietly, "The risk is that the galaxy will never see us the same again. They will fear us, perhaps unite against us. But if we continue to hold back, the Sarathan will bleed us system by system." The council voted. The decision was not shouted nor celebrated. It was spoken with quiet finality. The president turned to the ambassador. "Send the message. The time for warnings is over. If the galaxy wants to test humanity, we will show them what we kept in the dark." Unleashing the hidden far away, in secret shipyards orbiting dead stars, lights flickered on, hangars opened, and warships unlike any the Union had seen drifted out. Their hulls were black as night. Their weapons pulsed with energy that had never been revealed. Artificial intelligence systems linked entire fleets into single minds, coordinating movement with impossible speed. Experimental drives allowed human ships to appear where no enemy expected them. For decades, Earth had hidden these creations. They were not for conquest but for survival, held back as a final shield against extinction. Now the shield was rising. Admiral Marcus Hale, commander of the hidden fleets, received his orders. He stood before his officers, his voice carrying both pride and sorrow. "We did not seek this war, but it has come to us. Remember Vega Colony. Remember their courage. We fight not for power but for survival, and we will not stop until the galaxy understands. Humanity was never weak." The galaxy holds its breath. Rumors spread faster than official reports. Whispers told of human fleets appearing from nowhere, of weapons that melted enemy armor in seconds, of ships that moved with the precision of thought. Some alien leaders dismissed the stories as exaggeration. Others grew nervous, and some quietly began to wonder if humanity's ambassador had spoken only the truth. The Sarathan, proud and arrogant, prepared for a larger war. Their leaders laughed at the rumors, confident that their empire could not be challenged by a younger race. But in the shadows of deep space, as black fleets began to move, the truth was clear. Humanity was done holding back. The spark had been lit. The fire was coming. The galaxy did not have to wait long to see what humanity had hidden. Only weeks after the attack on Vega Colony, the Sarathan Empire sent a second fleet. This time it was larger, nearly 60 warships supported by carriers and siege vessels. Their goal was clear: strike another human colony, prove the Sarathins' dominance, and break human morale before it could rise. But humanity was no longer silent. The trap is set. The Sarathin fleet entered the Vera system, home to a mining colony on a barren world rich in rare minerals. They expected weakness. They expected fear. Instead, they found empty space. "Scanners show no defenses," reported a Sarathin officer. "Only mining stations and civilian transports." The fleet commander clacked his limbs with pride. "Then this will be easy. Begin the assault. Let the humans watch their colony burn." But as the first Sarathin ships moved toward the mining stations, space itself seemed to ripple. Shadows unfolded where none had been before. Black warships emerged from the darkness, their hulls swallowing the starlight. The Sarathin froze. These were not the simple patrol ships of Vega. These were something entirely new. At the center of the human fleet stood the flagship Resolute. Its design was sleek, its surface layered with advanced armor. Energy fields shimmered faintly around it, stronger than any Union shield technology. From the bridge of the Resolute, Admiral Marcus Hale gave a single order: "Show them who we are." The first clash, the hidden fleet moved with precision that shocked the Sarathin. Dozens of human ships accelerated in perfect unison, guided by artificial intelligence that linked every vessel. It looked less like a fleet and more like a single organism striking with one mind. Human weapons unleashed their fury. Streams of white-blue energy lanced across space, cutting through Sarathin armor in seconds. Missiles guided by adaptive AI dodged counterfire, striking engines and reactors with uncanny accuracy. The Sarathin returned fire, but their shots seemed clumsy by comparison. Human ships twisted and shifted, predicting enemy moves before they happened. On the Resolute, Admiral Hale stood calm, his eyes on the battle map. "They don't understand yet," he said softly. "They think this is only new technology, but it is not the machines, it is the people." He watched as a small corvette, heavily damaged, moved to shield a larger cruiser from enemy fire. The corvette's captain transmitted her last words before the ship was lost. "For Earth, for Vega, hold the line." Her sacrifice allowed the cruiser to fire a devastating broadside that tore apart 3 enemy ships at once. The Sarathin fleet began to falter. Their commander barked frantic orders, but confusion spread. They had faced many enemies before, but none who fought like this. Humanity did not fight to survive alone. They fought to protect one another. The message to the galaxy: the battle was not hidden. Across the Union, long-range scanners and observers caught fragments of the clash. Live transmissions leaked onto communication networks. Billions of eyes watched as humanity's fleet destroyed a force 3 times its size. On alien worlds, civilians gathered around screens. They saw Sarathin warships explode in fire, while human ships, though damaged, pressed forward with relentless determination. They heard the voices of human pilots shouting encouragement to each other, refusing to give in, and they remembered the ambassador's warning: "We are holding back." The Union Council chamber fell into stunned silence as reports poured in. Delegates who had once mocked humanity now sat pale and wordless. The Morallan representative whispered to no one in particular. They were not lying. They never lied. The Sarathin retreat. By the end of the battle, only a handful of Sarathin ships remained. The rest were destroyed or crippled. For the first time in centuries, a Sarathin fleet had been forced to retreat. Admiral Hale stood on the Resolute's bridge, watching as the surviving Sarathin ships fled into faster-than-light space. He did not cheer. He did not smile. "Send recovery teams," he ordered. "Save every survivor, ours and theirs." Human ships spread across the battlefield, rescuing escape pods and pulling wounded from wreckage. Even Sarathin soldiers, shocked and trembling, were treated with care. One Sarathin prisoner stared at the humans in disbelief. "You fight like demons," he whispered. "Yet you show mercy. Why?" The medic tending his injuries replied simply, "Because we know what war costs." The galaxy reacts. When the news reached the wider Union, the effect was like a storm. Some species were inspired. They saw in humanity a strength that gave hope against the Sarathin's arrogance. Quietly, they considered offering support to Earth, even if it meant defying the Empire. Others were terrified. If humanity could destroy a Sarathan fleet so easily, what could stop them from conquering the Union itself? Rumors spread that Earth might use its strength to demand power, to rewrite the balance of the galaxy. In the Sarathan Empire, rage boiled. Their leaders could not admit defeat. Instead, they called for a greater war, declaring that humanity must be crushed before its power grew even more. But beneath their pride, fear crept in. The Sarathan had underestimated humans once. They would not underestimate them again. The quiet before the storm back on Earth, the United Council reviewed the battle reports. The President looked around the chamber at her fellow leaders. The galaxy has now seen our strength. There is no hiding it any longer. We must decide. Do we fight until the Sarathan are broken, or do we hold and wait for them to come again? The ambassador who had given the warning stood once more. His voice carried the same calm weight as before. They will not stop. The Sarathan believe in dominance. They cannot allow us to stand equal. They will come with everything they have, Admiral Hale agreed. They will try to strike faster than we can prepare. But we have what they lack. We have unity. We have the will to fight together no matter the cost. The Council voted again. The decision was clear. Humanity would not wait to be struck again. Preparations began for a larger war, one that would decide humanity's place in the galaxy. The whisper spreads across the stars. Whispers grew louder. Among alien traders in shadowed markets, among diplomats in quiet chambers, and among soldiers preparing for battle, the same phrase spread. The humans warned us. Some spoke the words in awe. Some spoke them in fear, but none denied them now. Humanity had revealed its strength. The galaxy had seen it, and nothing would ever be the same. The victory at Vera had shaken the galaxy, but it had not ended the conflict. If anything, it had escalated it. The Sarathan Empire, humiliated and furious, vowed to crush humanity completely. Other species, once indifferent, now watched Earth closely, unsure whether to fear, follow, or oppose. Yet humanity did not seek war for glory. They sought survival, protection, and the chance to secure peace without submission. The expansion of war, the Sarathan mobilized everything. Entire fleets were gathered, hundreds of warships moving in unison, supported by strike carriers, troop transports, and long-range artillery. They targeted human colonies on remote planets, hoping to catch them isolated and weak. But humans were ready. Their hidden fleets, once scattered and secret, now operated as one. AI-guided coordination allowed ships across light years to act in unison, appearing at the right moment to defend colonies before enemy forces could strike. The first confrontation happened near the Korath Belt, where a convoy of resource ships was traveling to the mining colony on Zephyria. The Sarathan expected an easy victory. They did not expect to find a human task force waiting in perfect formation. When the battle began, human ships moved like a single creature, weaving around enemy fire, striking weak points, and protecting civilian transports. Sarathan ships that were faster and larger found themselves outmaneuvered and outsmarted. Captain Lin Zhao, commanding one of the forward corvettes, shouted over the comms, "Focus fire on their carriers. Protect the transports. Hold the line!" The corvettes darted through enemy fire, drawing attention while the larger cruisers unleashed devastating volleys. Within hours, the Sarathan were forced to retreat, suffering heavy losses once again. Alien allies began to question. Across the galaxy, Union species were watching carefully. Some had been skeptical of humanity before, dismissing Vega Colony as an anomaly. But Korath Belt proved the humans were consistent, intelligent, and deadly when necessary. The Miralan ambassador convened a secret meeting. Her voice was urgent, filled with awe. They are not just fighting, they are coordinating as if they share one mind. Every colony they protect, every ship they deploy is precise and deliberate. If we do not align with them, the Sarathan will see us as targets next. Other species nodded. Quiet discussions began about potential alliances with Earth. Even conservative factions realized that resisting humanity could be suicidal. Yet fear and pride remained. Not all wanted to join. Many debated if humanity's willingness to show force would make them rulers of the galaxy, rather than partners. Human strategy, power and mercy. The humans' approach to war was unusual. Every battle revealed their strength, but it also revealed their discipline. They struck with precision, but they did not destroy what was unnecessary. On Zephyria, after the battle, human ships sent rescue teams to recover injured Sarathan soldiers and repair civilian stations damaged by the fight. Alien survivors were shocked. They had expected humans to act like other conquerors, merciless and destructive. Instead, humans fought with honor, protecting life when it could be spared. One rescued Sarathan soldier whispered to his commander, "They are terrifying and merciful." How is that possible? This combination of strength and compassion made humans even more unpredictable. No enemy could anticipate how far they would go in battle, or how far they would stop. Admiral Marcus Hale addressed his fleet, knowing the galaxy was watching. "Every colony we protect, every enemy we defeat, we show the galaxy who humanity is. Not cruel, not weak, but unstoppable when unity calls. Remember, power without purpose is nothing. Our purpose is survival and peace." The spread of fear the Sarathan fleet humiliated again and again became cautious. Their previous arrogance was replaced by anxiety. Their spies reported humans appearing in multiple systems at once, striking where the enemy did not expect, and disappearing before retaliation could begin. Other species whispered in fear. Traders, diplomats, and even soldiers shared the same concern. If humanity was willing to fight like this against the Sarathan, what could they do against anyone else who tried to threaten Earth? Reports circulated of small human squadrons ambushing enemy supply lines, cutting off reinforcements before large battles began. Entire convoys vanished without a trace. Systems that had expected to fall in hours now held strong under human protection. And through it all, humans maintained their discipline. Civilians were safe, soldiers were prepared, and colonies were strengthened. Humanity's message was clear. We fight fiercely, but we fight justly. The turning point, the critical battle, came near the outer rim of the Arxilon cluster. The Sarathan gathered nearly half of their remaining fleet to crush a human colony known for its research stations. They believed humans would defend it poorly, thinking it was far from Earth. But humanity had predicted this move. The fleet appeared from hyperspace with astonishing speed, catching the Sarathan fleet in a trap. AI-guided coordination allowed humans to control the battle like a single organism. Ships darted in patterns that no enemy could track, and every strike targeted weaknesses the Sarathan had no way to anticipate. Within hours, the Sarathan flagship was disabled, their carriers destroyed, and their troop transports scattered. Losses were catastrophic. Entire wings of warships were gone. For the first time, the Sarathan Empire admitted privately that humans were not only strong, they were extraordinary. Alien reactions. Across the Union, the news spread quickly. The Galactic Union Council convened an emergency session. Delegates argued over the consequences of humanity's power. The Morellan ambassador spoke first, her voice trembling with urgency. Humans fight with unmatched skill. They protect their own and strike with precision. To resist them is folly. To ignore them is worse. We must respect them or we will be next. Others were less diplomatic. The Drogan Confederacy accused humans of spreading fear, claiming that humanity could become the galaxy's new dominant force. Debate raged, but one truth could not be denied. Humans had changed the balance of power. Even minor species, previously overlooked, began secretly sending envoys to Earth. They wished to observe, learn, and perhaps form alliances. Humanity's reputation as both powerful and merciful made them a symbol of hope and a force to be reckoned with. A calm before the next storm. Back on Earth, the Council met once more. Reports came in from multiple colonies, Zephyria, Korath Belt, and beyond. Humans had won again and again, yet casualties were minimal compared to the enemies they faced. President Aria Montrose stood before the chamber. The galaxy now sees our strength, but this is only the beginning. The Sarathan will regroup. Other powers may rise against us. Our job is not to conquer, but to ensure survival and peace. Every action we take now defines the future of humanity. Admiral Hale added, "Our fleets must remain ready. Every colony, every fleet, every system must be prepared. The galaxy has seen what we can do, but they do not yet know the full extent. That will be revealed only if it becomes necessary." Every officer in the room understood. The war had expanded beyond borders. Humanity's strategy was not just about winning battles. It was about sending a clear message. We are not weak. We are united, and we will defend ourselves without mercy if forced, but with justice always. The galaxy trembles by now across the stars. Whispers of humanity had grown into a wave of awe and fear. Traders paused in their journeys. Diplomats reconsidered negotiations. Military commanders altered strategies simply to avoid human fleets. The Sarathan Empire, though still proud, began to crumble internally. Leaders blamed each other for failures, but all feared one thing: humanity. They had been warned, and now they had seen the proof. Humans were no longer a young, unpredictable species. They were a force the galaxy could not ignore. As night fell on Earth, millions looked up at the stars, unaware of how closely the universe watched them. Humanity had revealed its power, but the war was far from over. The galaxy would not forget or forgive what had happened, and as humanity prepared for the next phase, one truth was clear: the galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The Sarathan Empire had learned fear. Its fleets were shattered, its leaders humiliated, and its influence in the galaxy diminished. Yet even in retreat, they refused to surrender. Pride ran deep in their veins, and they believed that a final, overwhelming strike could crush humanity once and for all. But humanity was ready. They had learned from every previous encounter, improved every strategy, and united every fleet under a single command. The final confrontation would not just be a battle. It would be the moment the galaxy truly understood what humans were capable of. The gathering storm, near the Sarathan homeworld, a system of burning stars and empty moons. The humans assembled their largest fleet yet. Over 1,000 ships, each designed for speed, power, and precision, hovered in formation. AI coordinated every move, linking ships and weapons as if they were one single entity. Admiral Marcus Hale stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute. Beside him were officers who had fought in every engagement, whose eyes reflected the weight of responsibility. "This is it," he said. "Not for conquest, not for pride, but for survival. Every human, every system, every life we protect depends on this battle. Remember Vega, remember Korath, remember Zephyria. We fight together, or we fall together." Across the fleet, ships hummed with energy, shields glimmered faintly, and weapons prepared for action. Humanity's warning had already been heard, but now the galaxy would see the truth firsthand. The battle begins. The Sarathan fleet appeared from hyperspace, enormous and menacing. They outnumbered the human fleet nearly 2-1, their weapons calibrated for maximum destruction. Their commander, proud and furious, shouted orders to crush the humans once and for all, but the humans did not flinch. The first strike came from the Resolute. High-powered energy beams lanced across space, targeting the Sarathan front line with surgical precision. Missiles launched simultaneously from hundreds of ships, striking engines, shields, and weapons before the Sarathan could respond. Human ships moved with uncanny speed. Small corvettes darted between larger cruisers, drawing fire while frigates delivered devastating counterstrikes. Entire wings of enemy ships exploded within moments, their crews thrown into chaos. From his observation deck, the Sarathan commander screamed in disbelief. "They fight like one mind. They are not just organized, they are unstoppable." But humanity's fleet did not act with cruelty. Captured Sarathan ships were disabled, not destroyed, and surviving enemy crews were given the chance to surrender. Humans fought with determination, not malice. Unity in battle. The human strategy was clear: protect civilians, disable enemies efficiently, and fight together as one. Across the battlefield, human ships coordinated flawlessly, anticipating enemy movements before they happened. Every attack was measured, every maneuver precise. Captain Lin Zhao, now commanding a squadron of 10 corvettes, executed daring maneuvers to shield civilian transports from incoming fire. "Hold formation," she shouted. "Protect the lives we defend. Fire only where necessary." Her squadron dodged, weaved, and struck with surgical precision. Enemy vessels that had once seemed unstoppable now faltered, their confidence shattered. Meanwhile, medical and repair ships moved among the chaos. Human crews rescued wounded civilians, patched damage on ships, and stabilized colonies that had been targeted by Sarathan attacks. Even in the middle of war, humanity's compassion remained, a confusing but powerful force in the eyes of the galaxy. The turning point. The battle raged for hours. The Sarathan, larger and stronger in number, believed they could win by sheer force, but they had underestimated humans. Every wave of attack was met with a stronger, smarter response. Every mistake they made was exploited immediately. Admiral Hale gave one order that would decide the outcome. Target the Sarathan flagship. Disable their command. Every ship focus fire now. Energy beams converged on the massive vessel. Missiles hit its engines, its shields flickered, and the command bridge went dark. Without coordination, the remaining Sarathan ships became vulnerable. One by one they were disabled, forced to retreat or captured. Finally, the Sarathan commander himself surrendered, facing humans not with anger, but with astonishment. You are not like any enemy we have ever faced, he admitted. You fight with power and mercy. How? Why? Hale replied calmly. Because we know the cost of war. But if forced, we will do what is necessary to survive. That is humanity. The aftermath. The battlefield was silent except for the hum of human ships and the distant glow of damaged Sarathan vessels. Hundreds of enemy ships had been destroyed or captured, thousands of lives saved, and billions of others across the galaxy were watching the aftermath unfold. Humans moved quickly to stabilize captured colonies, rescue civilians, and repair the damage caused by the conflict. They offered aid to those who had fought against them, showing that power without compassion was meaningless. The United Earth Council broadcast a message to the galaxy. This war was never our choice. The Sarathan attacked our colonies, ignored our warning, and brought suffering to countless lives. We responded not for conquest, not for revenge, but to protect ourselves, our people, and peace across the galaxy. Humanity is strong. Humanity is united. Humanity will defend its own, but always with justice. Across the stars, species listened. Some cheered, some wept. Some trembled in fear. But no one doubted the truth. Humans had revealed themselves, and the galaxy would never be the same. A new era, the Sarathan Empire, once feared across many systems, was now broken. Its leaders had fled or surrendered, its fleets destroyed, and its influence diminished. Other species, some of whom had once mocked humanity, now approached with caution, respect, or alliance. The Galactic Union convened once more. Delegates who had once debated whether humans were dangerous now spoke with reverence and concern. The Moralan ambassador addressed the council. Earth has shown us a new example. Not through domination, but through unity, skill, and compassion. We must respect them, for they are not a threat to peace, they are its guardians. Even minor species, previously ignored, began sending envoys to Earth. They wanted guidance, understanding, and cooperation. Humanity had become a symbol of both hope and power. Reflection on humanity. Back on Earth, people went about their daily lives, largely unaware of the full scale of the battles that had occurred in distant systems. Farmers, engineers, children, and scientists gazed at the stars with wonder, not knowing the galaxy had watched them fight and win. The United Council gathered one final time, reflecting on what had been achieved. The galaxy now respects humanity, said President Arya Montrose. We have shown strength. We have shown mercy. And we have survived. But the work is not over. Our role now is to guide, to protect, and to ensure the mistakes of the past are not repeated. Admiral Hale added, we will remain vigilant. But the galaxy now knows this. Humanity is not to be underestimated. We fight together, we protect each other, and we will survive. That is our nature. That is our legacy. The legacy begins. The stars shimmered above Earth, as though acknowledging the courage of its people. Across the galaxy, humans were no longer considered young or weak. They were the standard by which others measured strength, unity, and honor. No threat could ignore them. No enemy could surprise them. And no species could forget that humanity had been warned, humanity had held back, and humanity had now revealed itself fully. The war was over, but the message remained clear. We are human. We are strong. We fight for survival, for justice, and for peace, and the galaxy will never underestimate us again. As the fleets returned to Earth and colonies began recovery, humans looked to the stars not with fear but with hope, determination, and the knowledge that they had secured their place among the stars. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When humans warned, They were always to be believed. And so began a new era of respect. Vigilance and unity across the galaxy, all born from the courage and resilience of humanity.